Hello, welcome back to the Fencing Referee YouTube channel. I'm Lisa Campy-Sapri. I can also be found at thefencingref.com. Today's learning module is one that is vital for any level referee, not just for the people who are beginners. It's about when someone approaches you in a confrontational manner and being prepared for that. It's a really difficult kind of communication skill. And I always summarize it as have a script. Now, if you're prepared and you have kind of a script in your head, you'll be able to shift that focus and focus on communicating clearly what you need to do to keep control of the situation, to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. One of the many goals of these videos is to prepare you for the things both good and bad that are going to happen when you referee. And honestly, looking back, I wish that I had been told some of these things when I was coming up in the refereeing ranks, because it would have made me maybe more calm in certain situations. Maybe it would have helped me progress quicker. But these are really important tips and skills that, well, every referee will probably find really valuable. This one in particular. Being challenged by a fencer or a referee, not a referee, hopefully another referee isn't challenging you, by a spectator or a parent or a coach, it is one of the most difficult experiences you're going to encounter. And many referees kind of fold under the pressure, and they, when they get approached by somebody who is challenging them or being disrespectful. But not preparing for something like this is like fencing foil and expecting that you're never going to hit off target. It's going to happen. New and seasoned refs alike, if they don't prepare themselves for such things, then when they do happen, they're so surprising that they won't be able to have that calm. And I remember years ago, I was helping a referee who was not super young, but she was new to refereeing. She had been a pretty high level fencer, and she said, I don't know how to handle this. And essentially, I heard in her voice that she didn't have the vocabulary to deal with it. And I thought, the simplest advice, have a script. Prepare words in your head for these incredibly difficult circumstances. And they've got to be your words. They've got to be your voice. They've got to be ways that you would phrase things. And I'm going to give you some classic examples. We're going to be talking about having a script probably in a lot more modules, because these are important things to kind of keep prepared. But let's see, let me think of one. The classic one is something like, this is the worst call I've ever seen. And I've heard that. I've heard people as spectators say that. Remember, your response is with calm. And if you have words that are prepared already, you can be something like, sir, you are aware that insulting the referee is a violation of the rules. Not said with anger, said with calm. Now, you can further that point by adding a boundary to it. You are aware that that is a violation of the rules, insulting the referee, and if you do that again, or if you say something like that again, I'm going to have to give you a card. Now, you're not telling them you're going to black card them, but you're making them aware that you know exactly what the rules are, and further, you will enforce them. One of the roles, believe it or not, that referees have is sort of to mentor, parent, teach, kind of that idea that you've got to tell them what their limits are, and then if they go over the limits, you have to consistently apply the rules. None of what you're going to say is with anger. You may want it to be with anger, but it is not going to help the situation to say it with anger. That dispassionate newscaster voice that we talked about. Another scenario that might happen is, say, a mom gets in your face. And, it doesn't matter if you're 14 or 140. Guess what? Somebody gets confrontational like that, you might get excited, or your voice might change. We talked about that the last learning module. Have something pre-prepared. Ma'am, you are not allowed to approach me like this. I need you to go back to where the spectators are supposed to be. That's a simple one, right? Ma'am, only the athlete is allowed to ask me questions. This is clear information, and these are words that if you've prepared the scenarios in your head, you're going to be ready for them. These are things that we don't think we have to do. And as much as I would love for us to be creating perfect referees from the millisecond they start refereeing, that's just not happening. So think about these scenarios. Think about these two scenarios right now that I just said, that has to be the worst call, or a mom getting in your face. What would you say to them? These are things you need to be formulating, because unfortunately, they're going to happen. Only the athlete is allowed to ask you questions. Now, this is something, the next scenario I'm going to go over is, that person's covering target. Arm judges. Now, for me, I got two ways I can handle this. I can play deaf and say to the fencer, I'm sorry, did you have a question? And I say that to the fencer because maybe my being deaf to the person who's yelling, arm judges, will help empower the fencer to realize the fencer is the one with the rights. The fencer has the rights to ask. And a lot of times the fencer then goes, oh yes ma'am, can I please have arm judges? And that's fantastic. Another thing that I think I just said, I'm sorry. Now, a very high-level referee recently told me that he says, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah rules, okay? Or, I'm sorry, the athlete is the one who has to act. And a lot of times those simple words, I'm sorry, help the switch in the head, maybe the crazy switch that's going from the rational person to the irrational person, to calm down. And it is, I think, a great little set of words. You're not apologizing for enforcing the rules, but I'm sorry, the referee, I'm the referee and only the athlete is allowed to ask. I'm sorry. And it's an interesting way to kind of switch it. The last scenario I'm going to tell you about, I shouldn't start laughing, but it was pretty funny because it was a situation where I was refereeing one of the veteran top 8 bouts, and I was the video ref, and my younger counterpart was both younger in age and a newer referee. They do that. They match kind of dinosaurs like me with younger referees. And we had done a video replay. I don't remember if we asked for it, if he asked for it, but this guy was aggressively coming at my fellow referee. And it got to a point where he was being so assertive and aggressive that I went into protective mode. And I said the words, and you need to approach this in a more respectful manner. Now, the only thing missing was comma, young man, right? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, did I just mom somebody who's older than me by a little bit, let's just say. Did I just do that? But really, those were really great words. You need to approach this in a more respectful manner. It's very clear information. It's letting the athlete know that they're approaching a line. I said it with that tone change that we talked about last learning module. And, if I say things in a decisive manner, I'm not posturing, I'm not like, you need to do that in a real respectful manner. I just went into that mom mode, and it really made the person realize, first of all, arguing wasn't going to help because we had already done the review, and once you do the review, you're done. And that it was putting a limit on it. You should not be approaching this in this disrespectful manner. And it really is good because we're going back to that parent thing, that teacher-mentor kind of thing where you're giving boundaries. Now, this is a skill set that you're going to use. I mean, think of customer service. How many people in customer service deal with irate customers? How many people in retail deal with irate people? But even jobs like being a doctor or a lawyer or, police officers, people have to deal with controlled settings, staying calm, being the voice of reason. And they probably have scripts that they know, just like the ones you're learning right now. You are preparing for this adversity by giving yourself a vocabulary of your own to handle the stressful situations. You're empowering yourself, giving yourself the tools to handle it. And like I said before, these are things that I wish I had been told, so that when I first faced these things, that I would have had a script. It's that simple. That was it. Have a script. Serious stuff, but important stuff for any referee, new or old. Thank you for listening. I'm Lisa Campi-Sapri, and this is the Fencing Referee YouTube channel. I can also be found at thefencingref.com, and as always, give me comments. Tell me what you want to learn. Tell me an epiphany that you know helped you get better, because that's what this forum's about. Thank you so much. Keep working hard on your reffing.